And again, when you look at something like this that isn't a geometric shape, which would be much easier to draw, it's a good idea sometimes to start out that way, just to get not only the dimension but the perspective as well. So even though this isn't a perfect elliptical shape, it's generally in that direction, and giving it a bit of a thickness here. And if you can think of this having the cross contour, kind of that idea, then all the M&Ms that are there, depending how they're placed in there, will be flat, wrapping around the surface there. And just gently putting them in, lightly laying it in there. Because you don't really see all of the M&M except the one in the back there. And it's kind of embedded into the dough. But choose either one of those that are back there that you have. You don't have to do this one. As they make the cookie and then place the M&Ms inside the dough, you wonder how they're putting it together. And then again, it's not a perfect elliptical shape, so you can find the piece. And you also want to make it appealing looking in some cases, if this is for a display or an advertisement. I'm trying to put that in there. So kind of looking at the contour of the cookie itself and then going back in there with it can be a dark value to try to illustrate the M&M there. And you can see how the dough goes in front of it, each individual one, and it's embedded in there a little bit. Residue color. So in other words, you want to see if you can draw this almost as a line drawing before you shade it in with color. And see if you get that control of it. I'm just using like a purple pencil, knowing that that value will come across a lot in this piece. So you're trying to figure out the drawing first, and then you're kind of painting with all the color right after. And you can exaggerate a little bit of it, stylize it. So right there, the M&M part seems pretty obvious, and then when you look back at the negative space of the dough and the rest of the cookie, try to see how it's embedded in there with the solid piece there. Kind of pushing that in there. In this particular one, I don't have the foreground of it to help me with there, but I do have that image. And then once you get it, try to do the laying out, leave the white of the highlight there. Just kind of lay some of that. For the orange ones, I'm just going to lay a little bit of yellow. And when you think of it, yellow kind of covers just about everything with a light. So I'm just going to put a light, almost like a wash color over it. And then I'll just intensify any other colors. So knowing that ahead of time, I'm just putting a little bit of the orange color down here. Same with the red, so kind of thinking of the color wheel with the brightest color coming down first. And for example, any of these that become orange, I can just mix the yellow right on top of the orange. Blends it in. Makes it pretty nice. And even when you look at the red there, it's red, but it's not blazing red. You got a little bit of a piece. So I actually see myself putting a little yellow in all of this part there. Mixing the ones that I'm going to make red with a little bit of that. There. And go back and take the orange and mix that in there a little bit. And try to look at the reflections and the coloring of that. A little bit of turquoise color down. I'm going to make that a couple of those green. Just mixing the blue with a little bit of that on top there. I kind of have a pretty good start. I just have to lay in the cookie color. And again, try to think of it circular. Hopefully you start to see some of the underlying shapes. Some of the darker in the side. So the initial part was a little geometric, so that's where I'm just falling right back into that to give me that edge. And then using that same brown to kind of find any of the divots that are being made. Still pretty light. Some of the color on top, so the colors are actually mixing. The lighter you go, and then the heavier part you can take them out. The more you push on this, the more it's going to become that solid color there. Mix a little darker value in here. Kind of accentuating one of these just so you can see it, like the green, putting a little dark edge in there, building that part up. And a little bit of the reflected color that comes out of that. So just kind of concentrate on one of these just to show it to you.